Well, I am back a week later with part 2 to my Animal Crossing FNAF video. Within the time that I made the first video and me recording this right now, I have downloaded and completed FNAF Security Breach Ruin. Now, I'm not a secrets kind of person. I'm not Daco, I'm not Markiplier. I knew there were secrets, however, I just didn't really have the patience to go through it after the finagling I had to go through with my PlayStation. It was a whole thing in itself, and I would talk about it if this video wasn't on the shorter side of things. So if you want to hear about that, I don't know, hit me up on Instagram or something and I'll tell you about it. It was crazy. But anyway, so this video, I had a bit of trouble because I wasn't sure if I wanted to include ruined characters in this, since by this time I had already completed the game and I knew about all the other characters. And I'm pretty sure I put a spoiler at the beginning of this video, but everyone should know by now that Glamrock Bonnie was, seen in the game, and so we know what he looks like. And there was also the glitch trap thing. Is he even glitch trap? He's not glitch trap. He's very more rabbit looking than all of the rabbit characters, which I find absolutely crazy. But what even is his name? It's not the MXES, right? Maybe? I don't know. But there's that character, and there's the other suits that the Mimic uses, and there's stuff like that. And also Cassie. I really thought about doing a villager version of Cassie for this video, but I decided against it just because I feel like that could be its own thing on its own. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do short videos of those, so check for my YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok, because I will have those up sooner than later, hopefully. I'm extremely busy, so I haven't really had the chance to really work on anything lately. So in the meantime, we still have the base Security Breach game characters in this video. I started with Vanny, her suit, and I used Zipper from the Animal Crossing New Horizons game as reference for how her suit would look. She ended up looking more like Glitchtrap than she did Vanny, which I thought was kind of funny. But I had a lot of fun giving her this different face shape, and this was probably my first time drawing Vanny, I believe, and it was really fun. I enjoyed doing her design, and her eyes were so fun to draw. I love those lashes. They are so gorgeous. So yeah, I don't really know what to talk about in terms of Ruin, because I'm no theorist, that's for sure. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to these games. I just know that I love FNAF. It has been part of my childhood for years, and it has inspired me to do a lot of the things that I do today. So I'm going to talk about Ruin, but not in depth like other YouTubers would, so we'll just talk about it kind of briefly and just go over my thoughts of the game. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about my Sun and Moon Animal Crossing designs. It was extremely hard to figure out what I was going to do with these character designs. I had no idea where to even begin with this. And the only thing I could think of that matched the body type of these characters was these cats. And the only cat I can think of is Bob, but I used the one that you see, or at least I remember seeing in New Leaf on the train, and I don't know what his name was. Maybe it was Tom or something. I have no idea. But I used him as reference because he's more lanky and just has this very tall look about him. So I used that as base reference for how the body shape would be for Sun and Moon. However, I kind of just did whatever. It was really weird because Sun and Moon, they both have that snatched waist. So giving them this wider waist was very weird for me because I'm so used to drawing them really string bean looking. So making them a little fuller was fun. I don't know, it gave them this very, ragdoll vibe, and I thought it was super cute. But yeah, I struggled a lot with this design until I kind of figured out what I wanted to do. And I think they turned out really cute. My friends think they turned out cute as well, so if you don't think they're cute, too bad, so sad. So I also picked the cat characters because Sun has these really sharp sun rays on his head, and I was like, oh, I can reference the cat ears on that. But then I realized that they go all around his head rather than just being on the top, so it was a weird thing, but I think they turned out fine, so I'm not too upset about it. But back to Ruin. So among playing the game, I didn't watch any videos, I didn't look up anything, I just went straight into the game blind, had no idea what to expect, and I can say I was actually scared at times. Like, I had a very hard time getting through some levels because I was so afraid of the jump scares, and also I am a baby when it comes to chase sequences. So thank you, Steel Wool, for giving me that Glamrock Freddy chase scene. I literally spent 3 days trying to do it because I was so scared of it. I sat down last night at 1 in the morning and I did it because I didn't know that you could use the Vanny mask, and I had to watch Dako's video to figure that out because I would just sit there and be like, well, what do I do now? That sort of thing. But I feel like that's actually a really interesting point to bring up in terms of like theory. Like, we already knew that Vanny like couldn't be seen by Freddy. But in Security Breach Ruin, for some reason, like, whenever you would stay around too long and the rabbit would, like, show up with the mask, he would, like, spawn in, like, Chica or Monty or something, and they'd be able to see right through the mask and get you. So I don't know how that works when at the same time you're supposed to be able to deflect the animatronics with the mask on. So I don't know why Freddy, of all of them, like, maybe because he doesn't have a head, but I really have no idea what that was about with, like, use the mask to deflect the animatronics, but they can see you sort of thing. It was weird. Another instance where I ran into that was the Bonnie Bowl section, which I have a burning rage towards. That level had me suffering for days. I spent 2 nights, like literally 6 hours on this level. Maybe because I suck, who knows? But this level was so hard, and I didn't know that the part where you have to get the bowling pin, that you have to put on the mask and go in a certain way so the little horde of music men don't come after you. But then Markiplier does it, and it's like, oh, he just did it without the mask or anything, and they never went after him at all at the camera, and I don't understand. I would get in with like 3 feet of the camera, and the music man would be like, ah, I see you there, and they would come after me. So I eventually got through it, and I was trembling like a little baby, but eventually I got through it, and I will never play that level again because that was so traumatic for me. So thank you, Steel Wool, for actually ruining my vision of Music Man. I will never see him the same way. But that doesn't like really affect my view of the DLC. I personally loved the DLC. I felt like it really captured the good, like, how do I describe this? A good mix between sci-fi and horror, which you can have sci-fi horror. It's been done for many years at this point. But yeah, I know it's hard for some people to get to that mindset with FNAF because it's always been just blatant horror, you know? And now it's moving into this sci-fi realm, and I understand that that's kind of like difficult for people to move on with because it's hard for me as well. But Scott has always been a sci-fi person. He's always enjoyed sci-fi. Horror was never something he really dabbled in until FNAF 1, which, if you remember correctly, he made that in response to someone saying his game was scary. And he was like, oh, I'll show you scary, and now look at where it is. So let the man do what he wants. Like, we always preach like, oh, artists, do what you want, but then when Scott tries to be sci-fi, it's a problem. So if you have such a problem with it, make your own FNAF game. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, get off his back, please. But that's just me, because I get really upset whenever people are like, oh, I don't like the route you went with this, you should change it. I'm like, no, because I'm the creator, I do what I want, and if you don't like it, you can do it yourself. Not my problem, sort of thing. So, with that being said, I personally really enjoyed this. I love the idea of a robot pretending to be a child to lure in children. Like, it's just such a unique thing. I say unique, it's been done before, but in FNAF it's very unique, and I feel like it goes back to Sister Location with the illusion discs, and you have Circus Baby and Ennard, you know, doing this whole like switcheroo thing, and I really liked that. And I liked that even in the end, Gregory still backstabbed us and launched us down an elevator shaft. Which, by the way, Gregory says in that line, he says, we can't risk being followed. We. Which in the whole time he was giving that spiel in the elevator, he was saying, I know you did it for me. I understand. It's not your fault. That sort of thing. But then he says, we can't risk being followed. Now, we do see another secret ending where you can see Gregory with Helpy and Vanessa. And we don't see Freddy's head, which I found interesting, but we see Helpy. Helpy has like two different sprites, the one with the veins on his head and the one without. And the one without have blue eyes, and the one with the veins has yellow eyes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I believe happens. So, one, we don't see Freddy's head in that ending, but we know that Vanessa and Gregory are together. And we also see Helpy for whatever reason that is. So, when he says we can't risk being followed, is he referring to Vanessa and Helpy and or Freddy, or is he still not necessarily what we think he is? Like, is this still like a fake thing? Also, how could he even have access to anything in the Pizzaplex when Cassie was literally like Ruby Falls level under the ground? Like, there is no way. What is he, like 12? Like, there's no way Gregory as a human, I'm doing air quotations, human character, without any sort of like fancy sci-fi horror stuff going on, would be able to access anything that Pizzaplex from how down below Cassie was. Also, while on the topic of Cassie, oh my goodness, I love Cassie. First of all, I mentioned this in my last video, I hate Gregory's voice. I hate it so much, like it actually, like, it enrages me. But Cassie, I love her so much. She was so sweet and realistic, and she was just cute. I loved her little design and her little nails that she had painted, and I thought it was so cute that she had the green nails just like Roxy. Like, oh, that's so cute. And also, her relationship with Roxy has to be one of the most precious things this franchise has ever put out, and I love it. I want more. Also, let's mention the fact that Roxy at the end of the credits says Cassie's name, you know, questioningly. She's like, Cassie? What happened? Why are you a pancake in the ground under this elevator? Oh my gosh. Or maybe it's not Roxy, maybe it's the mimic pretending to be Roxy and Cassie's still alive. Which I doubt, but, you know, whatever. But anyways, let's put aside the ruin stuff for a minute and talk about what's on screen. So this is the part of the video where I started doing Gregory and Vanessa as the human villagers in the game. And I took a mix of this image that, like, if you look up villager Animal Crossing, it's like the first thing that comes up. I took a mix of that and Gregory's, like, actual pose that you see when you look him up. I'm just mixing things and doing what I want and just figuring out as I go. And, yeah, if you realize I didn't use, like, any sort of reference for these poses. Like, when I say reference, like, I didn't use a strict pose and drew exactly that. I kind of just drew what I imagined the character would be doing. Whereas this one, Gregory is such a one-dimensional, boring character. So I just mixed, like, his upper body with the lower body of the villager. So I just gave him the same leg formation, but then I gave him, like, his little I'm talking in my watch sort of thing. But anyways, so he was pretty simple to do because he's like 3 colors and you don't really have to do much with the character to like get the color scheme down. But this was my first time drawing Gregory and probably the last time, so take it as you will. If he wasn't so annoying, I'd probably do more fan art of him, but like, oh my gosh, I actually can't stand this kid. Or robot or whatever. I was actually kind of hoping that it was revealed that he was a robot so I could have a reason for not liking him so much. I was really hoping that, like, Gregory was the mimic this whole time, even though the mimic was pretending to be Gregory. I was really hoping that we'd get to the end and it'd be like, Gregory was there and he's like, psych, I'm the mimic. But no, unfortunately, there's no reason for me to dislike Gregory. He's just really weird. So... but moving on from that, next we have Vanessa, and she is my queen. I don't know why, but she's just like, I know she's like hardly on screen ever, and when we do see her, she's just like kind of edgy, but also not, and she's kind of sassy and annoying. But something about her, I liked the way she looked in the promotional posters. I liked her redesign in the final Security Breach game. And I always liked the way she looked. Maybe her personality isn't the greatest, but also she's really easy to draw, so that's one of the reasons why I like her. But I really enjoyed doing her design. I thought she turned out really cute, and once again, I kind of mixed her poses with, like, different pictures from the promos for her character. and I just kind of went with that. And also, I didn't realize this until afterwards, but this Vanessa Animal Crossing design, if you flip it, it mirrors the Vanny design that I did, and I did not do that on purpose. It just happened to be that way, and it's really cool. With the exception that she's holding a flashlight, but not a big difference. But I feel like she translated really well, her and Gregory, they translated really well into Animal Crossing villagers, and I thought they turned out really cute, and I enjoyed doing this a lot. Doing this last drawing was like closing the book because I'm finally done with this series, or at least the long form content of this series. So I'm happy to finally be done with it. So I added some like artistic liberties and shaded the hair on the humans a little differently, and just like still kept my style in there, but also gave it this like Animal Crossing base, you know. But yeah, so that's the end of the video. I hope you really like these designs. There's no mini comics this time, so I'm sorry about that. Be sure to check out my Etsy shop. I recently updated my shipping, where one item you have to pay $4 for shipping, but anything more than one item, so you buy 2 items, 3 items, however many you want, over 1 item you get free shipping. So please check that out. I really could use the financial support because I need to afford groceries. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe and comment. It really helps YouTube understand that my video is doable. People enjoy it, or at least some people do. A lot of people enjoyed my last one. There's always the last 100 views on there, so let's get this one up to the same, if not to surpass it. And be sure to check out my other socials and be ready for my next video that I should be uploading either tomorrow or on the 6th. And also be on the lookout for my short form content, because I'm about to get some more busted out here in a little bit. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.